therefore it is important Thank you. My apologies. Myanmar is going through an extremely important phase in its history, and we, from our side, would like to support the process and encourage everybody to cooperate so that these necessary reforms can be carried out in a peaceful manner. So I hope that we are back next year and continue our discussions. What has been important that we have been very warmly welcomed by everybody in the team, and that of course encourages us to continue our cooperation.
Thank you very much. I think my two colleagues have
The opening up of the Parliament now to amendments that might create additional elements of democracy. And I think the successful action by UMI in negotiating ceasefire agreements with the dissident groups around the country, these things have been very much appreciated by everyone in the international community. I think also that the isolation of Myanmar in previous years and the condemnation of the brutal military dictatorship by the United Nations, by European countries, by the United States and others has been alleviated. And now there's a great deal of goodwill and appreciation, not just on the part of the elders, but on the part of most of the rest of the world. I think the acceptance also of Myanmar with the head of ASEAN coming up, and the ASEAN Games that come there was unprecedented or unbelievable a few years ago. So I think in every aspect of life, the progress has been notable and appreciated very much. Myanmar still has a long way to go. I mentioned one problem, obviously, with the treatment of the Muslim citizens in the northwest. Near Bangladesh, as you know. The citizenship for them has to be addressed. I think we still have a long way to go in getting this political dialogue to build upon the ceasefire, where the degree of autonomy and freedom of individual ethnic groups and states in relation to the federal government has not yet been resolved. The last thing I'll say is that this country has incredible natural resources. The fisheries in the long sea coast that you have here, the productive land, which I've seen, I happen to be a farmer myself, I've seen a lot of this. The mining operations that in the past I think have been exploited, not for the well-being of the people. These kinds of things have been not yet addressed. There's not an adequate law yet that deals with land issues, whether the farmers have control of their own land, or whether some of their land will be confiscated by large mining operations. It's still a question, as you know, in this country. So we have challenges ahead of you, and these are the same kind of challenges that my country had to face more than 200 years ago when we became a free country. I might add that you're going to have a new revised constitution in just 2.5 years. It took my country 12 years to get a new constitution. So you're making very good progress in many ways. So progress, yes. Long way to go, yes. Yes, I did. Well, first of all, suggestions to the leadership. Our suggestion to the leadership in every case has been, first of all, an element of congratulations on progress made so far. And our main suggestion is to keep the progress going, opening up opportunities for every citizen to feel that they're equal to everyone else in this country. I personally feel that women in Myanmar are not treated fairly. As you know, in the Parliament, only 5% of the members of the Parliament are women. In Norway, more than 45% of the parliamentarians are women. And that's one area that we have suggested to all troops that might be changed. When I met with the commanding officer of the military, he appointed 166 members of the parliament. I suggested in 2015 that he appoint some of the women in the military to be. So those are the kind of small recommendations we made. And I think as far as the international observers, my hope is, and we expressed this to the Election Commission chairperson, that international observers be permitted to come in and observe the progress of the 2015 election. And that needs to be done fairly early if it's going to be effective, because we need to make sure that the preparation of the voters list is done accurately and fairly. And I understand there's going to be a new census performed in Myanmar beginning next year. We would like to be authorized to participate in that observation. I'm speaking at this moment on behalf of the Carter Center, because we have now helped to monitor 94 elections in the world. And we're very experienced with that, and we hope that we will be approved as an observer. This is not part of the elders group, it's part of the Carter Center. So I think I answered those questions.
Okay. My question is, are we moving, is Myanmar moving in the right direction and at the right pace, at the right pace? Is it too fast or too slow?
Could you repeat that?
Could you repeat that, please?
I think you can repeat that.
Is Myanmar moving in the right direction? Is it moving
is the pace too slow? The pace of change too slow?
Well, as I've said several times already, I think the entire world has been pleasantly surprised at the degree of progress that has already been made in just a brief 2.5 years since the last election. Most of the people in my country, in the United States, and I think in Europe as well, did not anticipate this country making major moves toward democracy and freedom when the last election was held. So I would say that so far the progress has been exceptionally gratifying and surprising how much progress has been made. But I've already outlined how much more change Myanmar still has to make in equality of opportunity and in the economic growth of the entire country, and in the ability of Myanmar to make sure that that economic progress is beneficial to every citizen, no matter where they live or what their religion might be or what their ethnic background might be. So, a lot of progress, surprisingly so, a lot of change still needs to be made.
And so, learning this lesson, what do we Burmese need to avoid this kind of the peace, ceasefire or peace agreement?
Well, I'll let apply part of that, but let me say that when we met last night with Amin, the minister who's in charge of peace negotiations, he made it clear that he would like to have a national ceremony for the inclusion of foreign leaders, and also for the inclusion of the military leaders, and also for the inclusion of the parliament and others to confirm what he has done as a member of the executive branch. I think this is very important to have all the ethnic groups present, foreign leaders as observers, maybe including the Secretary General of the United Nations, and also to make sure that the ethnic group realize it's not just a matter of negotiating with the minister, but that the Parliament itself accepts this and supports this, and that the military leaders also support it. So you get the executive branch, the military branch, the parliamentary branch, all in contract with the international community, I think that would give much more substantiality to the agreements already negotiated and much more assurance to both sides, the government and the ethnic group, that the agreement will be fulfilled.
Thank you. We have about 2 minutes left. That's time for one last very brief question and one. Let's remember later.
But I just, in addition to what Jimmy Carter just said, it's clear that this time there is a much deeper commitment. The country is much more broadly involved, as he just said. The minister also was explaining to us, the group that will be in the political dialogue will be maybe as large as 600 people. It's not a question of a small number of people not having a broad enough effort which is necessary to have lasting peace.
One very last question.
Very last. If it's possible, I'd like President Carter to talk directly about the 800,000 Rohingya in northern United States who are being systematically discriminated against tonight, access for movement, education, health, or equal access. Is this apartheid?
We've commented on that. I have several times. I referred to several Rohingyas, to the Muslims in the state. So this is a very serious problem for the international community, and I have already commented that the military commander has assured us that he has been helping with that problem. I think that it has been a very serious incident in the past of rape. It caused a lot of conflict. There are about 200,000 of these Muslims who have still being treated as displaced persons in camps. When I was here earlier in April, their housing area was in a low flooded area, and I asked the President if he would move these people to a higher ground before the floods came. But this is a matter of great interest to the entire world community, because it's a key test of whether Myanmar is going to honor international standards for human rights. And obviously, any prejudice between Buddhists or Christians or anyone else against Muslims or vice versa is contrary to the basic premises of a modern democracy. And we have been gratified so far to hear the leaders that we have addressed give us assurances that they're trying the best they can to resolve this issue. As you know, there's a 1982 citizenship law that opens up full citizenship rights to these people, and some of the Rohingya leaders have objected to conforming to this law. My hope is that all the people who you mentioned will take advantage of the opportunities there and will present their credentials and become citizens in the very near future. It's a serious problem. It's being addressed. It's not going to be easy, and the world community is eager to assist, recognizing that the decisions have to be made by Myanmar people and not by foreigners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can ask you to